these ones. No. Oh, that's the one.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome back. My name is Nate Miller, and this is Givin Takes, the online sports show where every week I sit down with you all and talk about everything sports related. This is episode 6. Almost been at this for about a month and a half now. Still going great. Still having fun finding new things to talk about. And this week is going to be no different. It's such an exciting sports month. Such an exciting sports week. Honestly, I mean, March Madness is happening. MLB opening day is coming up. We just got done with the World Baseball Classic. We're ramping in to the NBA and the NHL playoffs. Like, March, when it comes to sports months, is one of the best. So I'm super excited to talk with you guys about sports today. Super exciting stuff I got planned. A lot of predictions I'm going to be making today. A whole lot. So that's going to be a big bulk of this episode, is me guessing about stuff that's going to happen. Not as much talking about what has happened, but different style episode. I'm looking forward to it. And before we get into all that, as always, make sure you follow me and my socials on TikTok and Instagram for more Givin Takes content. Instagram and TikTok, just at Givin Takes, the YouTube channel. I mean, if you're watching this, you're here, you found it. I mean, you could subscribe while you're here, but that's up to you. But you found the YouTube if you're here. And then, obviously, as I've mentioned these last couple episodes, I am a part of the Empty the Bench network now. So if you want to follow them on Instagram, TikTok, or Twitter, that's just at ETB Network. And if you want to go subscribe to their YouTube, which once I get a computer that's able to stream well, because the laptop I have currently doesn't have streaming capabilities like I need it to. Once I have a better laptop for streaming, you're going to see me on their YouTube a whole bunch on a whole lot of their shows, which should have happened already, but computer issues has significantly prolonged that. But we're getting close to that. They're just youtube.com/ETB network. Go check them out, show them love, because I will be over there for videos very soon. Hopefully, probably not next week, but maybe the week afterwards. So maybe like 2 weeks from now or 1 week from now. I don't know. I'm going to be on there soon. And last thing I have to say before getting into this starting nine is you may notice I'm in a good mood. It's largely because the green and white back there are in the Sweet 16. So because of that, I'm going up to visit my old stomping grounds next weekend up in East Lansing to just, be a part of the Spartan environment, watch some playoff college basketball. And while I'm up there, I'm going to be shooting a lot of fun stuff, like just with people up there that I'm going to be posting on the socials. And you can look forward to a very special episode of Givin Takes next week. It's not like something I've ever done before for an episode of Givin Takes. It's going to be something totally new, an idea I've had since I've started this, that now that I'm going somewhere where I'm going to be seeing a lot of people, I'm actually going to be able to make the episode work. So tune in for next week's episode. It's going to be super fun. I'm going to tease it a little bit on my socials this week, so follow me there for hints and updates on that. It's just super exciting. It's super fun. It's going to be such a fun week coming up for me and the channel. So without further ado, let's get into this week's Starting 9, Episode 6. Leading off, we're going to be talking about the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament. A couple key takeaways from rounds 1 and 2. Just, recap a little bit of what's happened. Then, for our second topic, I'm going to be filling out a Sweet 16 bracket. Now, this isn't something I normally do. This is my first time doing this because I figured it would be content for the show. But I think that's going to be fun. My first 2 rounds were not very accurate. I had Wisconsin in the Final Four. They lost in the 4th game of the tournament, so my bracket got busted immediately. However, I'm going to take a crack at seeing how well and how accurate can I fill out the Sweet 16. Because I did pretty well guessing who would advance to the Sweet 16. The video that I posted on my Instagram, I think I went 13 for 16 or something like that. So we're going to see how well I can fill out a Sweet 16 bracket. Then after that, we're going to go down to our third topic today, which is going to be kind of like how I did last week with my accuracy and my conference tournament brackets. Now that the WBC has wrapped up, I'm going to talk about the championship game a little bit, and then we're going to see how accurate my WBC bracket from a couple weeks ago was. Then for our fourth topic, we're going to switch and we're going to get full into the MLB swing of this episode today, and I'm going to start off by making a tier list of all 30 teams in the MLB. I thought that would be a little more fun and visually pleasing than me just being like, and my 30th best team is, and the 29th best, and the 28th best. Like, I thought that would just be a more fun way for me to kind of show you how good teams are going to be. I haven't filled out the list yet. I've tried to think about it as little as possible so it can just be organic while I fill it out. So that is going to be our fourth topic. Our fifth topic, given that MLB opening day is this week, I got to, make my predictions for the season. So I'm going to 5 and 6. You can honestly make them one topic, but I split them up into two. Number 5, I'm going to be giving you my 8 major award winners. That's the Coach of the Year, Rookie of the Year, Cy Young, and MVP in both the AL and the NL. And then I'm just going to give you 10 big overarching season-long predictions that I have for this MLB season. I'm probably going to go 0 for 10, because I'm really smart. But, maybe I don't. But, whenever October comes and the season has ended, we'll circle back to these predictions and see how well I did. Then moving down into the seventh topic, our State of the Union. I finally get to talk about a baseball team because it's going to be baseball season. I'm going to talk about the Minnesota Twins because I think they're just a problematic organization right now with a bad team. And, they're going to suck, and I'm going to tell you why later. Then we're going to move into our eighth topic, which is going to be a look ahead to the NBA playoffs. They start about 3 weeks from today. So I'm going to go through, and I'm just going to kind of give you who I got coming out of the East, who I got coming out of the West. I'm going to give you a dark horse I got for both conferences, and then my favorite round one matchup in each conference. And then for our ninth topic, rounding out the order before the top 10, I'm going to do the same thing I just did for the NBA, but do it for the NHL. They both start on April 18th. Those playoffs always go hand in hand, so if I'm looking ahead to one, might as well look ahead to the other at the same time. So I'm going to do that exact same thing for the NHL playoffs. And then finally, to end the episode, as I always do, it's going to be the top 10. And like I always say, if you want to know what the topic is for the top 10, either skip to the end right now and get your fix of me ranking 10 random things, or wait, hang out, chill with me, drink some water with me, as I do, and let's talk sports for an hour, Let's talk sports for an hour first. So with all that being said, with all that being out of the way, I don't think I missed anything. I had a lot of things I wanted to squeeze into that intro. I don't think I missed anything. If I did, I'll just kick myself later when I'm editing. But for now, we're done with the fluff and stuff. We're going to get straight into our lead-off topic, which is the first 2 rounds of madness. It was a great weekend, man. I watched almost every game. I enjoyed every game, except for Vanderbilt in the second round. Vanderbilt broke my heart. I needed them to win, but I'll get to that in a second. It was great. It was super entertaining. It was just good basketball. I know there wasn't as many upsets as people talked about, but it was still good competitive play. And at the end of the day, I feel like that's all you can ask for in the first 2 rounds of this tournament. Kind of circling back to what I said last week, I made predictions on teams who would be first-round upsets and teams who could be dark horses to make the Sweet 16. And I'm here to let you know that none of my first-round upset teams lost in the first round, so that's a nice 0 for 4 there. And only one of my dark horse teams made the Sweet 16, and it was St. John's. So at least I was right about one of the 8 things that I tried to predict. At least it wasn't 0. Thank you, St. John's, for hitting a buzzer beater. Or else I would have just looked like the biggest idiot, huh? However, I'm going to give you my 3 big things from the first round. The first one is the High Point upset over Wisconsin. I thought that was amazing. It was such a great game. They battled back, came back at the end. And I think what that shows more than anything, which their head coach said at the end of that game in his presser, is just the fact that we need to make sure that these smaller conference schools are actually able to schedule some Power 5 conference games. Because, I mean, you look at Miami, Ohio beat SMU, even though they went out in the first round. High Point beat Wisconsin. Two teams who were good mid-majors that got none of these bigger schools would schedule them this year. So it was hard for them to actually get the proper recognition they deserve in the rankings, and it was hard to truly showcase how good of a team that these teams were because these bigger schools wouldn't schedule them. And we saw, I mean, High Point went toe-to-toe with Arkansas, albeit they lost, but they beat Wisconsin, went toe-to-toe with Arkansas. I mean, that's a team that should be able to schedule a team, I don't know, like a Boston College, like at least an ACC team, you know? Have them schedule Washington or Penn State basketball. Like, maybe they're not the best, but have them play some Power 5 teams, you know? I think smaller schools are – it's actually the fault of the bigger schools because these smaller schools reach out and get nothing back. So while these bigger schools do need to, you know, schedule, like, better games in order to help out their resumes, I think it wouldn't hurt them to have a little more than a game or two that's just like – you got to see the other side of the coin. I know it hurts you way more if you lose to a bad team, but it also helps them out a lot. So I think it's a two-way street, and these bigger schools need to just start taking smaller games. And I think High Point and Miami, Ohio are great examples of that. My second takeaway from the first round is that Duke looks vulnerable. Duke doesn't look like how I thought Duke was going to play in this tournament. I thought they would wipe every team easily. Granted, they beat the crap out of TCU in the second round, but that game was close in the second half. I just think Duke looks vulnerable. They don't look like that powerhouse cakewalk to the championship team that I thought they would. I mean, I'd now say, and obviously Florida's eliminated, so it's a little easier to say this, but I think Arizona now is my favorite to win it all. Like, I think despite if they beat Arkansas, because that's going to be a tough game, but talking about just who's the best one seed right now, I'd probably say Arizona. And I would have said Duke originally, but I actually have Duke below Michigan now too. I think if they ran in to either Arizona or Michigan, which obviously they can't, but if they were to, I don't think they would beat them. And the St. John's game is going to be tough for them, but we'll get to that when I fill out my Sweet 16 bracket. And my final takeaway from the first round was just kind of the lack of double-digit upsets, and that people were upset about it and saying, oh, Cinderella's dead. Like, there's no, like, what's the word? There's just, with NIL now, that's it. With NIL now, there's no more Cinderellas and Cinderella's dead. I think that's a bad take. I think it was just, I think the better teams just won almost every game. I mean, it's not their fault that you probably picked Akron or Hofstra to upset Texas Tech or Alabama. I mean, I did. But just because you pick a double-digit upset that loses doesn't mean, oh, there's no more double-digit upsets in this tournament. We saw multiple 11 seeds win. Every 9 seed won. I know that's not a double-digit upset. But there's still upsets in this tournament. Granted, not as many as this year, but I just think it's bad timing of NIL becoming a bigger boom and less double-digit upsets. I mean, is that a trend that'll probably consist? Yeah, but let's not say there's going to be no upsets. I mean, Texas is in the Sweet 16 now. They're an 11 seed. I mean, we gotta take this all with a grain of salt. Maybe the mid-major St. Peter's 15 seed run to the Elite 8 isn't going to happen anymore, or at least won't be as common, because I feel like we had 3 or 4 straight years with 15 seeds going on runs. I think that was just a fluke. I think we got too used to these 13 seeds and lower, like, winning games and going on runs. I don't see that continuing to happen, but that's just because of how basketball works. I don't think that has to do with NIL. So that's what I got to say about the first round. The second round, going over that, Florida upset by Iowa. I mean, what? Big Ten. 6 teams in the Sweet 16. Like, that's, I think it's 6, right? Illinois, Nebraska, Iowa, Michigan State, Michigan, Purdue. I think it's 6. 6 teams. Could have been 7 if UCLA won, but they didn't. Huskies got them. But Big Ten Power Conference, baby. Love that. Iowa took down Florida. I think that was a crazy upset. I mean, they went down early and just never fully brought it back. And the people who want to complain about upsets maybe not happening in the first round, well, they were alive and well in the second round. I mean, Florida losing to Iowa was such a shocker to me. I mean, Iowa just, they weren't like that crazy of a team. Like, it's not like Iowa was some powerhouse and it's like, oh, everyone knew they could probably beat Florida. I bet, like, almost nobody had Iowa beating Florida in that game. So it's not to say this was some predictable 9-1 upset, you know? Like, this came out of absolutely nowhere. So I thought that was great for this tournament, and that means we're going to be getting a new champion, which is fun. Florida can't repeat. My second thing I wanted to say is Texas. I think Texas could go on a crazy run here, man. They look good. They look sound. Granted, I think Gonzaga was a weak team, and they just beat the crap out of BYU. I think Gonzaga was a weak team, so I don't want to say they're just going to be able to go out and do that against, I believe it's Purdue that they face next. But, I mean, who's to say they can't, man? I mean, you might see me betting on Texas against Purdue that game. I think I really might because they look sound, man. They look really sound. So I wouldn't be surprised if they go to the Elite Eight. Do they beat the winner of Arizona, Arkansas, and go to the Final Four? Probably not, but I mean, man, once you're there and you're dancing, anything can happen. So I like Texas. I think they're going to keep winning basketball games, at least their next one. I think they win their next game. And then finally, my third takeaway from the second round was Vanderbilt, Nebraska's best game of the tournament. And I know you could say, like, with the upsets and everything, like St. John's, Kansas was great with that buzzer beater. Florida, Iowa, obviously you get an upset and a shot with 3-4 seconds left to put them up. That's great. Those are all great games. But the back and forth, the intensity, the coming down to the last wire and just, I don't know, everything about Vanderbilt, Nebraska, I thought just made it the best game of the tournament so far. It was so entertaining. And Vanderbilt blew that game, in my opinion. They had the ball with 30-plus seconds left, I believe. Like, I think the shot clock was still on. And they had a timeout to call. They didn't call it. They wasted the whole shot clock trying to get a bucket up. They missed. Defensive rebound, Nebraska. They drive down, easy layup, and then we saw the Hail Mary half quarter that almost went in, which would have been cool. Ultimately, it didn't, and Nebraska won that game. But that was Vanderbilt's game to lose there at the end. It was crazy. They didn't have their first lead until 8 minutes left in the second half. It was a great game, super competitive. I absolutely love Vanderbilt, Nebraska, and I think it's going to be tough for us to see a better game than that in terms of just everything and how it went down. I hope we do, but so far I think Nebraska-Vanderbilt might go down as game of the tourney. Obviously, the stakes will be different as we go forward. Games will mean more, but Vanderbilt-Nebraska, man, that was one hell of a basketball game. So that's it for that. That's everything I had to say about the first two rounds in a timely manner of the NCAA men's basketball tournament. And now, with the past, closing the book on the past and opening the book of the future, we're going to move into our next topic, which is going to be my Sweet 16 bracket that I fill out. And for that, much like whenever I filled out my bracket last week, I'm going to transition to being small and in the corner. Well, here I am. I lied to you guys. I am small, but not in the corner because the bracket is in the corner. So I am small and on the side. I apologize for lying to you. But, however, we are still here. It's still time to fill out the brackets. So without further ado, let's get it going and start up in the East. Duke and St. John's. This is a tough one. This is a tough one because, like I said, Duke looks vulnerable. St. John's looks good. St. John's looks... I mean, they might be a 5 seed, but I think they should have been a 2 seed. Like, this feels like an Elite 8 matchup, skill-wise, for Duke. I just think that Duke hasn't looked great. St. John's has looked good. I'm gonna go with an upset here. I'm gonna take St. John's to advance to the Elite 8 over Duke. I think we see another 1 seed fall. And then in Michigan State and UConn, I think Michigan State has just played too well in their first 2 games to drop this one. It's going to be really tough going up against UConn, and I mean really tough. But I think they get it done. I think Michigan State gets the job done. I'm going to move them on to the Elite 8 as well for a Pitino-Izzo matchup that every Italian is fiending for, including myself. I'd love to see that. I think Dan Hurley's team is really, really good this year, but I think they've just shown some weaknesses against these higher caliber teams. I mean, they kept it close with UCLA for a while, which was a team that beat Michigan State. But I think Michigan State's going to match up well against them, and I'm going to take Sparty in the Elite 8. And then in St. John's, Michigan State, I'm going to keep Sparty rolling. I mean, hey, the last year all 4 9 seeds won in the first round was the last year Sparty made the Final Four. So that's all the random stat I needed to have faith in my Spartans because, like I said, if St. John's beats Duke, I know what you're thinking. Oh, so how do you think they're just going to go beat Michigan State? Well, that's basketball. I think Michigan State is just such a good, well-rounded team this year. Tom Izzo has been coaching this tournament amazingly, and the bench depth has been playing extremely well in these first 2 games. So if they make it past UConn, I like them to make it past St. John's too. Michigan State in the Final Four, which I did not have originally. Originally, I had them losing to Duke in the Elite Eight, which I probably still would have if I had Duke winning. But because Duke just looks so vulnerable, I have St. John's winning that game and then Michigan State making it past St. John's. Down in the South, Iowa, Nebraska. Iowa's a good team, obviously. They just beat Florida, so obviously a lot of people are going to have eyes on them to win this game, maybe go to the Elite Eight, but I think Nebraska has just been playing too well recently. I think they're riding the high of their first ever tournament win, first ever tournament run too, and I don't think they're going to stop in the Sweet 16 against the 9 seed. I think they've just played too well, too solid. Nebraska's going to win this game and move on to the Elite Eight. And who will they face? Illinois and Houston. This is going to be a good game, but this is honestly a little bit of a no-brainer for me. I think Houston is just too good. I got Houston win this game. I think they're a powerhouse. I think they're such a good, well-rounded basketball team. I know I've said that about a bunch of teams, that they're well-rounded, but they are great. They give up, I think, like 62.7 points per game they've given up this year. They have such a great defense. They're able to score at an insanely high clip. They got no weaknesses in my eyes, and that's why they're in the Elite Eight, and ultimately why I also have them moving on to the Final Four. I think Nebraska's run ends right then and there in the Elite Eight. I think it's a good run. I think it's fun while it lasts, but I think the buck stops there, and the Cornhuskers go down, and the Cougars move on. Now, up in the West region, what I think is probably... There are a lot of good games in this Sweet 16. This one might be the best one, man. Arizona and Arkansas. Who to pick, man? Who to pick? I mean, Darius Acuff's just playing so well. I know Arkansas, they didn't exactly blow Hawaii out of the water. Hyde Point played them close. And Utah State played Arizona kind of close for a little bit there. So both of these teams, not exactly, they didn't dominate their second round matchups, but I think I'm going to pick another 1 seed going down. I'm going to take Arkansas here to go on to the Elite Eight. I just really like how they're playing right now. Coach Cal is just coaching these guys. He's coaching their butts off. He's put together such a good locker room, and I'm going to take Arkansas to move on. And then in Texas Tech, Purdue, I'm going to take, not Texas Tech, in Texas, Purdue, kind of hinted to this earlier that I think they're primed for a run just because of how they've been playing recently. I'm going to take Texas to beat Purdue. It's not because I think Purdue is necessarily playing bad or anything right now. I think they are playing good basketball. I mean, we saw against Miami. I mean, they outscored them by so many after going down 8. I think they outscored them by almost 20 points. So they are a good team, but I just think the way Texas is playing right now, they're going to beat this Purdue team in a really close game. I think this might be an overtime game, but it's not like I'll be shocked if Purdue wins. Like, I probably expect Purdue to win, but, you know, in my bracket here that I'm filling out, I'm taking Texas. And then in the Elite Eight, Arkansas, Texas, a little SEC matchup. This is where Texas has its magic run out. The Longhorns go down, and the Hogs roll to the Final Four. I love that Arkansas team so much. Ooh, I scrolled. I shouldn't have done that. I think everything's still in frame. Yup, we're good. And we're in the Midwest now. Michigan and Alabama. This isn't too much of a thinker. I think Michigan beats them here. Alabama's been playing good basketball. I mean, they almost 40-pieced Texas Tech last night. They just beat the crap out of them. But there's no way I see 0 1 seeds making the Elite Eight. That's something else that's backing it here. I have Duke and Arizona going down. I don't think every 1 seed loses before the Elite Eight. So as much as it pains me to say, I do have Michigan making the Elite Eight. Then in Tennessee, Iowa State, I think Tennessee is just kind of okay. I just don't think Virginia was that good, to be honest with you. I mean, I had Virginia making the Sweet 16 if they were to go up against Miami, Ohio, because I had that in most brackets. But Tennessee, I thought it was I wouldn't say no-brain because I did pick Virginia to win that game, but I wasn't surprised that Tennessee did. It always feels like in years where they're really good and everyone expects them to go on a run, they don't. And then in years when they're slept on, they kind of go on a run. But Iowa State's just too damn good, man. Iowa State is so good. I don't see them making it past them. It might be a close game. I don't think it'll be super close. But give me the Cyclones in the Elite Eight. And then Wolverines, Cyclone, Elite Eight, Michigan, Iowa State. Oh, it's going to be such a good game. But in my eyes, man, the year after every single 1 seed made the Final Four, I think no 1 seeds make the Final Four. I think Iowa State's a better team than Michigan. I think they should have beat Arizona, who I think is a better team than Michigan. Skill-wise, I just think they can beat almost anybody. So I'm going to take them to move to the Final Four like I did in my original bracket with this Michigan-Iowa State matchup. So now my Final Four in my Sweet 16 bracket are Michigan State, Houston, Arkansas, and Iowa State. In this Michigan State-Houston game, while I would really love the Spartans to win this, I want them to win it so bad, and I would be cheering my tail off for them the whole game. I think Houston's just better. I think Houston makes it back to the Natty pretty handily. I got Houston beating Michigan State. And then in Arkansas, Iowa State, once again, I think it's another close game. But I think Calipari gets back to the Natty. I think Acuff is just playing so good right now. And Calipari teams who go on runs, man, they go on runs. So I'm going to take Arkansas to go to the national championship as well. And then we got Houston and Arkansas. Tough game, tough matchup. I'm going to make not a rash decision here, but a quick one. I think that Houston is going to win this game. Give me their redemption in the national championship. That right there, tiebreaker. I'll pick a random amount of points right now. We'll go 142, maybe a little like 72-70 victory, something like that for Houston. Give me Houston over Arkansas in the championship. So take a good look at it right now. Put it up there for leave it up there for a couple seconds as is. And there it is. That's my Sweet 16 bracket, and it's time to go back to me full screen. And we're back, full screen, full me, how you like it. That was my Sweet 16 bracket, Final Four, Michigan State, Houston, Iowa State, and Arkansas. Houston and Arkansas in the national championship, and Houston cutting down the nets, winning the Natty this year. So that is my Sweet 16 bracket. Let me know what you think of it down below. And now we are going to transition into our third topic of the day, which is my accuracy in my WBC bracket. This is going to be a fairly quick one. So just giving you some numbers real quick. Or actually, before I give you the numbers, let's talk about that game that they had against Venezuela, the USA did. It was a great game. Bryce Harper going to have one of the all-time forgotten moments in sports history with that home run that he hit to tie that game in the 8th. Or maybe it was the 7th, I don't recall exactly, but man, was it majestic. It was magical. I was out of my seat. I was cheering. I was hyped up. But it was all for naught because they couldn't get it done in the 9th. I thought Mason Miller should have been in for the 9th. I don't know really what Mark DeRosa was thinking. I know he maybe was saying like, oh, the Athletics didn't want us to pitch him or something like that. But when you're in the World Baseball Classic Championship, man, it's not like Venezuela or any other country or any other team was doing that. So I don't know why it was just the USA players, the pitchers specifically, that there were issues with them playing. When could they pitch? How many pitches could they throw? It bugged me. I didn't like it. I think it ended up hurting us. But it's all said and done. It was a great game. Congratulations to Venezuela. First WBC title, hanging up a banner. I think that was great for them. I was really happy for Salvador Perez. I love that guy. Hall of Fame resume just got bolstered a little bit more there for them. They had a great team. I'm happy for Miguel Cabrera, too. I mean, you could see how much it meant to all those Venezuelan players. I hate that the USA didn't win, but I'm happy that Venezuela did, if you know what I mean. So with that, I'm going to talk to you about my accuracy. So this is how I'm going to start it off. For quarterfinal teams, or actually, I'll put both. I'll do that right now. I'm going to put both up right here. On this side, or no, over Mateen Cleaves, I'm going to put what my bracket was that I filled out and showed to you guys of my predictions. And over Paul Skeens, I'm going to be putting what the actual bracket was. Now, it's all not formatted the same, but I'll guide you through that. So, when it came to teams that actually made the quarterfinals, as you could see, I had 6 out of 8 right, which is pretty good. I had Colombia and Mexico making it. They did not. Instead, it was Canada and Italy. Canada made it over Colombia in Pool A, and Italy made it over Mexico in Pool B. However, I got Pools C and D perfectly correct, and that includes their positioning in the quarterfinals. I got the Pool C and D runner-up and champion both right on the nose. But Pool A and Pool B, I went 0 for 4, which is a 4 out of 8. I went 50% on that. The Pool A champion was Canada, not Puerto Rico, as I thought. Pool A runner-up was Puerto Rico, not Colombia. The Pool A champion was Italy. I had the USA winning it. And the Pool B runner-up was the USA. It was not, in fact, Mexico. In the semifinals, I had 2 of the 4 semifinal teams correct, and I predicted one of the 2 matchups correctly. I had the DR, the USA, Mexico, and Japan making it originally, with the USA matching up against the Dominican Republic. That matchup stood true. However, Mexico and Japan, as you can see, did not make the semifinals. That was Venezuela and Italy, and what turned out to be a great game, too. That did not disappoint. So that's how I did in the semifinals, and then going on to the championship, obviously I had 1 team correct and 1 team wrong. I had the USA correctly making the finals. I had them facing Japan when in actuality they faced Venezuela, and as I just talked about, I got my champion wrong. I had the USA winning it all when it was actually Venezuela. So real quickly, if I assigned a point system to this, I gave myself 1 point for every quarterfinal team I picked right to make it. 1 point for every team I got in the correct position, and then a point for every game winner I picked correctly. So when I break it down like that, that comes out to 6 out of 8 quarterfinal team points, 4 out of 8 placement points, and 3 out of 7 game points. So at a total of 23 possible points I could have gotten, I got 13. For all you guys who were good at math, you knew that, but I built suspense for those who maybe aren't as good as math. At math. Maybe I'm not good at English. But I got 13 out of 23 points that I possibly could have gotten. That's 56.5%, which if your benchmark is going over 50% right, then I did good. But if we're going on a schooling system grade of 60% you passed, well, then I failed. But I'm staying consistent. What is the percentage? I have it here. Let me pull it up. I went 59.1% over all 5 conference tourneys. So hey, now you know if you want to tail my picks, I'm right about stuff a little over half the time, 50 to 60%. I feel like that's pretty good. So that was a quick flash in the pan segment. That's all I had for my WBC accuracy. Talked about the game a little bit, showed you how smart or dumb I was, depending on how you want to interpret me showing you my brackets. And that is all for topic number 3. Before we get into our cleanup topic, which I'm excited for. I've been looking forward to this. My buddy Eduardo suggested to me that I do this a while back, and I told him I was going to wait until MLB season started to do it. So, Eduardo, here it is. Not just for you, but it's partially for you. It's for everyone watching. It's the cleanup topic. It's my MLB tier list. So, once again, it is time for a transition of big me to become little me, and I'm going to go in that corner. No. That corner. Yeah, I'm going to go in that corner right now. And here I am, back in the corner, as promised, as advertised. No lying this time about my screen positioning. Top right corner, that's where I'm at. And it's time for this little tier list here. So, the 5 tiers that I have for teams are World Series contenders, division winners, wild card teams, on the fringe, and better luck next year. I think all those are pretty self-explanatory. The maybe one that needs explaining is on the fringe. Like, you're gonna be like battling for a wild card spot all year. Like, you'll be in the mix, but you're probably not gonna get there. I could probably add like another tier, but I didn't want to get too specific with it. This is gonna be my official MLB team tier list for the 2026 season. So I'm going to just go in order here, starting with the Yankees. I think they are World Series contenders. Also, to keep this timely, I'm not going to fully dive in and explain the reasoning for every single team. I'm just going to kind of rapid fire this. It's going to be fairly quick. So not too much explanation. Because if I were to do, I could do a whole episode that's just breaking down all 30 teams. I won't. But this is going to be quick, rapid fire. Where do I see all these teams? So Yankees, World Series contenders. Mariners. I'm going to put them at World Series contenders as well with that rotation in Cal Raleigh. Rays, better luck next year. Blue Jays, World Series contenders. Marlins, they're going to be on the fringe. Cardinals, better luck next year. I'll sort these two in a row by I'll try to sort these in a row of teams I think are better than other teams. So maybe at the end this will kind of be my 1 to 30. This is what I think, but not exactly 1 to 1. But I'll try. Houston Astros, I think they're going to be on the fringe this year. The Braves, I don't think they win their division, but I got them as a wild card team. Orioles, wild card team. Cleveland, wild card team. Rockies, better luck next year. Tigers, I don't know if I have them as a World Series contender. I'm gonna put them at World Series contender. They've been in the dance the last couple years, so now they're starting to have their guys who have been there, done it in October. I'm gonna put them up in World Series contenders. Royals, not a division winner, I think, because of the Tigers and the Guardians, so I'm going to put them down in wild card teams. Brewers, I think they're a division winner this year. Not really a World Series contender, though. I mean, to be honest, I don't have anyone out of the NL Central really as a World Series contender. I mean, the Brewers are good, but I don't know. I just don't see it. Angels, I got them on the fringe, honestly. Athletics, wild card team. I think Athletics are going to be a sneaky good team this year. Phillies, I got them as World Series contenders. I think they're the second best team in the NL. I'm actually going to put them over everybody here. Pirates, wild card team. Ooh, where are they going? Pirates. I'm going to put them... Just because they have question marks still, I'm going to put them at the back of it now. But I think the Pirates are a wild card team. I think they have a good rotation, and they got better in the offseason. I like that. San Diego is going to be a wild card team, too, just because of the Dodgers. I mean, the Dodgers are just so good this year, man. It's going to be tough. And also, I'm realizing now that there aren't going to be too many teams in division winners because of everyone I have as a World Series contender. But, hey, you know what? That's what you learn in hindsight. Texas, I got you guys on the fringe. You lost to Adolis Garcia, but I'm gonna put you ahead of Miami still. I got you on the fringe. Boston, Boston's a wild card team. And there obviously aren't only going to be 6 teams in the wild card team section because that's just I didn't want to get too specific with it. It's more teams that I could see in the wild card. So I got Boston. Actually, I'm going to put them below Kansas. No, I'll put them between Cleveland and Kansas City. I got Boston as a wild card team. Giants, another sneaky wild card team. But I got them all the way down there. Dodgers, I mean, obviously, they got everyone and their mother on their team this year. The Diamondbacks, I think they're on the fringe. I really don't think they're going to make that much noise. I still think they're a good team. The Mets, the Mets don't really make sense as a division winner. So they don't make sense as a division winner. I don't have them as a contender, but I don't want to put them all the way down in wild card teams skill-wise. So, like, in a weird way, I'm putting them in division winners, all right? Just deal with it. That's their caliber. They're not a contender. They're not a wild card team. Who the hell even knows who the Mets are anyway? Like, it makes sense that they're oddly in the division winner tier. White Sox, better luck next year. I'm going to put them... I think they're going to be better than the Cardinals and the Rockies. Twins, better luck next year. I'm about to rant about them here in a couple minutes. But I just think they're going to be so bad, man. Cubs, division winner caliber, right up there with Milwaukee. They're a good team. They could easily go out and win the NL Central. I just don't think they're World Series contenders. Nationals, they're getting better. I don't necessarily want to put them in on. I'm going to put them at the very lowest tier of on the fringe, just because I don't think they're terrible. I mean, they're not going to be great, but I think they could surprise some people, go out and make some noise. And finally, the Cincinnati Reds. I think they'll compete for... I'm actually going to put them as the best on the fringe team, to be totally honest with you. I don't think they're that special. I think they got a little worse after last year. I don't think they're going to... They just kind of snuck into the 6th seed. I don't think they're going to do that again this year. I think they're going to be on the outside looking in for a pretty significant part of the season. So that's my tier list. I don't even know fully what to make of it because, like I said, I just wanted to go out and do it. But here it is. My World Series contenders are the Dodgers, Phillies, Yankees, Mariners, Blue Jays, and Tigers. Division winner caliber, but not contender caliber. I got the Brewers, Cubs, and Mets. My wild card teams are the Padres, Indians... The Padres, Guardians, Red Sox, Royals, Athletics, Braves, Orioles, Pirates, and Giants. My on-the-fringe teams are the Reds, D-backs, Astros, Rangers, Marlins, Angels, and Nationals. And then the teams that you can just pack it in this year and worry about next year are the Rays, the White Sox, the Cardinals, the Rockies, and the Twins. So that is my tier list, and it's time to get big again. And I'm big again! And that is the end of our 4th topic, our MLB tier list. My MLB tier list. It's not yours, it's mine. Now we're going to get into our 5th topic, which I'm going to give you my 8 MLB award winners this year. So going to just kind of go through these. My first award winner that I have, or I'm going to start off with the Coaches of the Year. I think Coach of the Year more often than not goes to a team that has underperformed significantly over the last few years and then has a year where they kind of go out and make a statement. So that's what I picked for these 2 awards. For my Coach of the Year in the NL, I got Don Kelly, who is the Pirates manager. I just think with the roster they have and the noise I think they make throughout the league this year, I think he's going to be a prime candidate for Coach of the Year and a shoo-in for it if they make the playoffs. And then in the AL, I got the Athletics head coach, Mark Kotsay. I think it's kind of the same situation as the Pirates. They got a good roster there. The pitching isn't insane, but I think the bats are really, really good. And if they can make enough noise to... They have to make the playoffs if he wants to win Coach of the Year. But I think the Athletics could sneak in as a wild card team. So that's why I have the Athletics head coach as my Coach of the Year. The Rookies of the Year. I have, and this is not bias. You're going to think it's bias. It's not. So just hush. It's not bias. I think the Rookies of the Year are going to be Connor Griffin for the Pirates and Kevin McGonigal for the Tigers. 2 young studs, both bats that are going to light up the lineups that they join after they've gotten done with their time in the minors. I think they're just going to ignite so much energy into their lineups. I think those 2 are going to be compared with one another for most of their careers. Like, I think they're going to go hand in hand when being talked about. So give me McGonigal and Griffin as my Rookies of the Year. My Cy Young picks. One of them is obvious. His jersey hangs up in the back of every one of my videos. I got Paul Skeens winning the Cy Young in the NL this year. I think he's just, like, maybe Christopher Sanchez or Zach Wheeler, one of those guys on the Phillies, could challenge him. But I really think if Skeens just pitches like Skeens, I don't think anyone takes him down. So give me Paul Skeens winning the NL Cy Young. And then in the AL, a bit of a dark horse. I don't think it's going to be Skubal this year. I think after a certain point, even though I have a bet with my buddy that Paul Skeens will win 9 Cy Youngs in a row, which is a real thing. I have made that bet, and it will happen. But I just don't think, I think at a certain point, people start looking for other guys to vote for awards. So I wanted to pick Skubal. I did. I just don't see him having that insane, far and away better season than everyone else in the AL again this year. So I'm actually going to take a guy who hasn't won it yet, who isn't even the opening day starter for his team, but I think is going to come out and just have a hell of a season, go absolutely crazy, win the Cy Young. It's Brian Wu on the Mariners. I think Wu's going to have a fantastic season. I think he is a phenomenal pitcher, put up really good numbers last year. Give me Brian. He had that injury in the playoffs, and I think if he doesn't have that injury, then the Mariners go on and beat Toronto and make the World Series, maybe even win the World Series against the Dodgers, who knows. But I like Brian Wu to win the Cy Young this year. Give me a little dark horse, because it can't all be chalk. And speaking of not having chalk, for my MVPs, I'll touch on this more when I get to my 10 big predictions segment right after this, but I went with no Judge and no Ohtani for this. I think their reigns are done. They have to be. It just seems to be Judge Ohtani every year, and while I really do love Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani as players, and I appreciate their greatness, I think both torches are going to be passed this year. So in the AL, that torch is getting passed to Juan Soto, and in the AL, I have it getting passed to Bobby Witt Jr. I mean, both of those guys are fantastic speed and power threats. One of them is a Gold Glove fielder who shows no signs of slowing down. The other one, you basically couldn't pay to field. No offense, Juan Soto, but let's be real here. I think Juan Soto, if anything, his defense might hold him back, but I don't think that should be too big of an issue. I think he was just a little shaky joining a new organization last year. I think he settles into the Mets this year. He was close in MVP voting last year, but no cigar. I think he gets it done this year over Ohtani. Ohtani will probably do something historic again because that's just what Ohtani does, but I'm banking on that it doesn't happen and that Juan Soto takes the NL MVP. And Bobby Witt Jr., he's just got every tool in the shed. I mean, he's a 5-tool guy. He gets it done, and I don't think Aaron Judge hitting 55, 60 home runs, just any guy just hitting that many home runs is going to do it for the MVP voting again. I think Witt's going to have a much better, well-rounded season, and unless Judge hits over 300 again or near 300 again and it has an insane average and leads the league in a million things, I think the door is going to be wide open, and I think Bobby Witt Jr. is going to be the guy to shut it. So those are my 8 award picks, and now quickly transitioning into our 6th topic of the night, of the day, depending on when you are watching this. It is my 10 big predictions for the MLB season. So 1 through 10, this is what I got for you. My first one, the Twins are going to finish last place in the AL Central. The Twins are going to be worse than the White Sox. I'll touch on it more here soon, but the Twins are going to be so freaking bad this year. They're going to be terrible. My second one, Dodgers don't make the World Series. I think there's a lot of talent in the NL this year, a lot of very talented teams. And even though they added Kyle Tucker and they look like another super team that's going to go on a run, I just think it runs out here, man. I mean, they're a dominant force. They really are. And they're going to probably make the NLCS. But I think it'll be the Phillies. I like the Phillies a lot this year. I think the Phillies take down the Dodgers, get their revenge this year in the NL some way, somehow. I don't know what round. But the Dodgers aren't going to make the World Series. My third prediction that I have is 2 players are going to hit 60 home runs this year. 2 different players, 60 home runs. I don't know who. It'll probably be from the pool of Shohei Ohtani, Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, Cal Raleigh, and Kyle Schwarber. It'll probably be 2 of those 5 guys if I had to guess, but I don't know who, I don't know how, I don't know where and when, but I believe the 2 players are going to hit 60 home runs this season. My fourth prediction, I kind of just alluded to this, but I have Judge and Ohtani both not repeating as MVP. I don't think either of them are going to repeat. I just think with the talent, and even though I don't like voter fatigue, I believe voter fatigue will kick in eventually in the MLB, as I've seen it kick in so many other sports when it comes to the award voting. But I don't think either of them are going to repeat as their league's most valuable player this year. My fifth prediction is both rookies of the year start the year off in the minor leagues. This has already been confirmed that Connor Griffin will be starting the year in the minor leagues. I think Kevin McGonigal is going to as well, even though it has not been confirmed yet. But I still think both of them are going to win Rookie of the Year. So you heard it here first. Both guys who are winning Rookie of the Year are not going to be in the majors come opening day. Then, moving down, 6th prediction. 2 players hit the 40-40 mark this year. I think there are too many good players with amazing skill set combinations of power and speed. So because of that, I think 40-40 is just going to start getting a little bit more common as we go along. My guess on the 2 guys to do it, my guesses would be Bobby Witt Jr. and Ronald Acuna Jr., a couple of juniors getting it done, one in the AL, one in the NL. But I think 2 guys, maybe not them, that's who I think it will be. I think we see 2 guys hit the 40-40 mark this year, join the 40-40 club. My 7th prediction, Pirates make the playoffs. That's real, man. They have a good roster with bats. And if the Pirates would have won like 25 more games last season if they had just scored 2 runs a game. Like, that's a real stat that blew my mind. That's how good the pitching in Pittsburgh is, both on the back end of the bullpen and with the starting rotation. The pitching is just so good that all that team needs is a competent offense to win a bunch more games than they lose. So that's why I have Pittsburgh making the playoffs as my... I don't know if they win the division. I would love if they did, obviously. I don't think they do. But they could. They really could with that pitching staff and a competent offense. So I think they end up being a wild card team, but I do see them making the playoffs. My 8th prediction is that the Cardinals finish with the 2nd worst record in the National League, potentially the worst. Now, the prediction is that they finish with the 2nd worst record in the National League, right? I don't think they are worse than the Rockies. And I don't think the Rockies have not done anything to make me think, oh, they're going to be good this year. Like, don't get it twisted. I have no faith in the Rockies. But I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, the Cardinals suck. They suck, like, really bad. So I think they're going to be worse than the Nationals, worse than the Marlins. I have them as the 2nd worst team in the National League and the 4th worst team in all of baseball. And then, the 3rd worst team in all of baseball. I just have the Twins and the Rockies below them. That's how bad I think this St. Louis Cardinals team is this year. And then my 9th prediction is a team that missed the playoffs last year is going to win their division this year. That could be the Braves. That could be the Mets. That could be the San Francisco Giants, the Pittsburgh Pirates, Boston Red Sox. Like, there's a lot of teams out there. The Kansas City Royals could go out and do it, you know? I mean, there's a lot of teams out there that didn't get a shot that I think didn't get a shot at the Commissioner's Trophy in October that I believe got better in the offseason or just had some crappy luck down the stretch. It's a little mixture of both. But I think there's a good pool of teams out there that missed the playoffs last season that is going to go out and make noise this season and win their division. So be on the lookout for that. I think that one, if I have any predictions, right, I think it's going to be that one. And then finally, my last prediction. I also think this one's going to be right. After a season where 0 teams won 100 games in their MLB season, I think 3 to 4 teams do this year. I'm looking at the Dodgers and the Phillies and the Yankees and the Blue Jays and the Mariners and thinking at least 3 of those teams, I think, go and win 100 games. Maybe. Big maybe. And the Brewers. Throw the Brewers in there. They had the best record in the MLB last year. So sure as hell, yeah, throw the Brewers in there. They could not easily, it's not easy to win 100 games, but I could easily foresee them winning 100 games. So that was like a little mini top 10 for you in the middle of my episode, so I'll run it back. My 10 big predictions once more. Twins finish last place in the NL Central, or the AL Central. Dodgers don't make the World Series. 2 players hit 60 home runs. Judge and Ohtani both do not repeat as MVP. Both rookies of the year start their year in the minor leagues. 2 players hit the 40 home run, 40 stolen base mark. The Pirates make the playoffs. The Cardinals finish with the 2nd worst record in the National League. A team that missed the playoffs last year is going to win their division this year, and 3 to 4 teams win 100 games. So those are my 10 big predictions, and keeping with the baseball topics, we're going to switch off of our 6th subject, close that book nice and tightly, and open up our 7th topic, our State of the Union. One of 2 staples I have in this show every week alongside the top 10. It's topic number 7, State of the Union. And it's time to talk about the Minnesota Twins. They're going to be really bad. They're going to be extremely bad this year. And I'm going to just tell you how bad. Let's start off with last year, actually. They finished 70 and 92 last year, and I think they got worse. They finished only 10. They had 70 wins. The Chicago White Sox had 60 wins. So they finished 10 games above the White Sox. Now, I think they finished last in the AL Central this year, as I just gave you in my prediction. And on-field talent aside, I think a big reason that they're going to do poorly is Derek Shelton. I think Derek Shelton is a terrible manager that mismanages the players he has. I think in order for him to be good, he needs to kind of have a no-brain roster to manage. Not to say that he doesn't have a brain, but like he's just not a good manager, especially with poor teams. I watched him manage the Pirates for like 5 years, and it was terrible. Like, he just never seemed to be able to make the right decision. Always mismanaged his bullpen, and his lineup constructions were god-awful. So I think Derek Shelton's going to hold them back a lot. And it also doesn't help that, unfortunately, their number one guy, Pablo Lopez, is going to be out for the season with injury. I think that's just a really unfortunate blow to this team that didn't have much going for it in the first place. This just does not help. This is going to make the Twins even worse than they would have been with him, obviously. And let's talk more about the on-field talent, because at the 2025 deadline, they shipped away Carlos Correa, Ty France, Johan Duran, Griffin Jax, Harrison Bader, and Lewis Varland, just to name a few. And the only notable name that I found in any of those returns that made me think, oh, that's a major league guy that could play a bit this year, maybe help you out, was James Outman, who you may know from just being like that good young outfielder who was on the Dodgers for a little bit. Like, he hasn't made a bunch of noise in his career, but like, he was fine, you know. He was fairly solid. But that's like all, notability wise, that was like all I saw they got in return that made me think like, yeah, all right, some of those moves make sense. Otherwise, they just got rid of so many players for virtually nothing in return, and I'm not really sure why, because it's like they didn't need to rebuild. I mean, they had Correa and Ty France and Johan Duran and Griffin Jackson, Harrison Bader and Lewis Varland before they just decided to trade all of them away. I mean, you had a pretty solidly constructed roster. Granted, not all those guys were playing great, but you fire sailed when I just really didn't think you had to. And it's not all negative. I mean, they have some bright spots. I mean, Joe Ryan, I think, is an AL Cy Young dark horse. I think he's going to pitch really, really well for Minnesota this year. Byron Buxton is healthy right now, so that's always a good sign. And Royce Lewis is a great third baseman for you guys. I know the city of Minnesota loves Royce Lewis. He's still going to be there playing. But at least one of those guys is getting traded, like at the deadline. Let's be real. After we saw what they did last year, and clearly now that they've just decided to go into full rebuild mode, do not be surprised. I don't think all three of them get traded. I just don't think as an organization they can physically do that and not be like just completely torn to shreds by media. But I think Buxton gets traded. I really do. And I could see either Royce Lewis or Joe Ryan getting traded as well. Maybe all three. I don't think you can trade away your three best players all in one deadline after trading away 7 guys last deadline. But I'm not a GM, so maybe I don't know what the play is. But I think at least one of Joe Ryan, Byron Buxton, or Royce Lewis is out of Minnesota at the deadline. Probably 2 of those guys. This team is going to lose 100 games this year. I don't think that's too bold of a take. I think they lose 100 games. I mean, just looking at their projected lineup for opening day is Luke Keyshaw, I think that's how you pronounce that, Byron Buxton, Matt Wallner, Ryan Jeffers, Josh Bell, Josh Bell's okay. That's a little sneaky bright spot maybe. Royce Lewis, Trevor Larnach, Austin Martin, and Brooks Lee. That's your projected lineup if you're a Minnesota Twins fan. It reminds me a lot of the Pirates lineups in the early 2020s where I'd see some okay names and think, oh, maybe this team, if they get really lucky, can string together a couple like good winning streaks and maybe make some noise. But then Derek Shelton would go and screw everything up, and managerial situation stays the same. I mean, this just feels like any Pittsburgh Pirate team I saw from 2020 to 2024. And I was just thinking, like, yeah, it would be nice if this is the year, but it ain't going to be. And I just get that same vibe from Minnesota, and I think they lose 100 games. And somehow Derek Shelton won't get fired, though. He won't get fired, which Minnesota fans, I'm sorry that you have to deal with him. But that's all I got to say about the Minnesota Twins. Most of these State of the Unions going on now. Maybe there will be some playoff teams I talk about in the NBA and the NHL, but most now going forward, I'm going to be talking lots of MLB teams, which I'm super excited for because that is what I am far and away the most knowledgeable about sports-wise. But that is the first MLB State of the Union of Givin Takes is the Minnesota Twins, unfortunately, because I think they're going to stink, but Twins fans, I don't know how many of you watch, but if you do, let me know what you think. I don't think the Twins are going to be that good. Maybe I don't know ball like I should. Maybe some of those players that I just kind of skimmed over in the lineup are actually sneaky good guys, and I just don't know about it. I don't watch too much Twins ball, so let me know. I think the Twins are going to be bad, though. So that was my State of the Union, and now we're going to move on to our 8th topic, which is an NBA playoffs look ahead. Either here or here, probably over Mateen Cleaves. I'm going to be putting the NBA bracket. How do I phrase this? I got it. I'm going to be putting up the NBA bracket if the playoffs were to start today. So if the playoffs were to start today, this would be the bracket. I'll rifle through it for you real quick. Thunder, 1 seed, facing the 8 seed coming out of the play-in. Spurs, 2 seed, facing the 7. We got Rockets, Nuggets in the 4-5, and Lakers, T-Wolves in the 3-6. That's the West. In the East, Pistons, the 1 seed, facing the 8 seed out of the play-in. Celtics, the 2 seed, facing the 7 out of the play-in. We got Cavs, Raptors, 4-5. Knicks, Hawks, 3-6. So, as I said at the top of this episode, I'm going to give you my team coming out of the West, team coming out of the East, my favorite round 1 matchup, and a dark horse in each conference. Before I do that, actually, for you, I'll give you my predictions of how I think the play-in will go for the NBA. I think the Clippers are going to beat the Suns and end up facing the Spurs, and then I think after everything else gets shuffled out over here, give me the 10-seeded Warriors going to face the Thunder in the first round. So I got... If these were to be first-round matchups, it would be Warriors as the 8 seed and Clippers as the 7 seed in the West. And in the East, Sixers, Magic. I got the Sixers winning that game and going to face the Celtics, a little Boston-Philly matchup. And then I think the Hornets are going to figure their way up against the Pistons as well. I think they got a nice young team, and I think they go and make some noise in the play-in. So my 1-8 in the East would be Pistons-Hornets. 2-7 would be Sixers-Celtics. Throat is really starting to itch here. Is my voice getting hoarse? Can you tell? I don't know if you can tell, but ooh, I can feel it. I'm good now. All right, so my team coming out of the West is the Spurs. I think the Spurs are the best team in the West right now. I mean, I know the Thunder are just insane. They are very, very good. But who's the one team that has been able to consistently beat the Thunder all year? It's the Spurs. So I think that just makes them better. I mean, when you can beat the best consistently, I think that makes you the best. I don't care who else the Pistons have been beating I don't care who else the Thunder have been playing or who else they've been beating. I mean, they still haven't shown me that they can beat the Spurs, and I don't see anyone else losing to the Spurs. So give me the Spurs out of the West, and as long as Cade Cunningham is healthy, I like the Pistons out of the East. They're just a rock-solid team this year. They're very, very good at playing basketball, and as long as Cade's healthy, I think they make the finals. My favorite round 1 matchup in each conference, I think Rockets-Nuggets. Jokic against KD is going to be so much fun to watch. I think that's going to be a great matchup. And then in the East, I got the Knicks and the Hawks. That rivalry won't be have as much gusto as it used to whenever Trae Young was there, because Trae Young just hated the Knicks. But I think that's going to be a very entertaining matchup to watch. I think the Knicks take it. I think they get it over the Hawks, but I think that's going to be fun to watch, and there's going to be energy at MSG for that. My dark horse in each of these conferences. In the West, I got the Nuggets, literally just because of Jokic, man. I mean, Jokic can just go out and do it. It doesn't, he's got some fun. Jamal Murray isn't really playing great basketball right now, but he's got Cam Thomas and Aaron Gordon around him. Tim Hardaway Jr., I think, is there. I'm pretty sure Tim Hardaway Jr. is on that squad. I mean, it's a good team they got in Denver. And I think if they make it past the Rockets, it'll be tough to get past the Thunder. But that's a matchup the NBA wants to see, man. Jokic going up against Shea, MVP battle, just like we saw in the second round last year. I think, and if they get past the Nuggets, then or the Thunder, you just never know. Even though I don't really think they make it past the Spurs, I think they're a dark horse that could make some noise if the right shots fall their way. Then in the East, my dark horse is the Cavaliers. I think, James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, that's a great duo. If they're able to just play ball together well and continue to stack wins, I think they move past Toronto in round one, and then it's just same scenario. I don't really think they make it past the Pistons, but like I said, the right shots fall their way. When they get past that hump, then it's like the Cavs are off and running. So the Cavs and the Nuggets are my dark horses. So that's all I got for my quick NBA playoffs look ahead. No use in diving too much into it because obviously standings are going to change drastically. Maybe not too drastically, but they're going to change over the next 3 weeks. Stuff's going to get shuffled around. So I don't want to break it down, player by player matchup, who I think is going to win and fill out the bracket, because things are going to change. But I thought it would still be fun for this week to take a little peek at the graphic 3 weeks out and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking about. Maybe I'll circle back to some of this too in a few weeks, see if I was right about anything. So with that all being said, our 9th topic of the day, it's here. Our bottom of the order topic, our man, what's the word for it? I was going to do a fun transition, but I lost my train of thought. Our setup guy at the bottom of the order for the top of the lineup. That's what you call the 9-hole guy. The setup guy for the top. My 9-hole guy today is the NHL playoff look ahead. I'm putting that bracket right up here over Mateen Cleaves again. And I'm going to do what I just did for the NBA for the NHL. So I'm just going to get right into it. You see the bracket up there. Read all the matchups off to you just for shits and giggles. It's the Avalanche and the Predators, or starting in the West. Avalanche and Predators, Stars and Wild, Ducks and Mammoth, Golden Knights and Oilers. And then in the East, it's the Sabres and the Bruins, the Lightning and the Canadiens, the Hurricanes and the Islanders, and then the Penguins and the Blue Jackets. My team I got coming out of the West is the Colorado Avalanche. They've just been a powerhouse team this year. Haven't lost very many games, and I don't really see that many other threats in the West, man. I mean, some minor threats, but no major threats that I think it's Colorado's cup to lose this year. So they are my Stanley Cup champion as of now, and they are my Western Conference champion as of now. And then in the East, I got it's kind of chalky, but let's be real here. I mean, got to pick good teams to do well. I got the Hurricanes. Hurricanes are just a really, really good team, man. They're dominating the Metropolitan Division standings. They're up on the Pens by like 10 points, and that is a good division in a good conference, and they're still stacking up points. Give me the Hurricanes to win the East as of now. So my favorite round one matchups. In the West, it's the Golden Knights and the Oilers. I think this is going to be very tough for the Oilers because of their lack of goaltending, but I think these are two teams that have butted heads pretty consistently in the playoffs over the years. Things have gone both ways. They've also butted heads in the regular season. And obviously, McDavid and Draisaitl must watch hockey every time they're on the ice. And given they're kind of an underdog going up against a significantly better team, in my opinion, I think it's going to be really fun to watch these two teams duke it out for what's probably going to end up being 7 games. And then in the East, my favorite first-round matchup is the Hurricanes and the Islanders. I think the Islanders are a very sneaky good team. I don't necessarily know if they're going to be the ones who end up in the wild card spot. I think maybe they sneak back into third place, end up playing the Penguins, and Columbus falls to that wild card spot. But as of now, if the Hurricanes were to play the Islanders, I think it's just going to be such a beautiful series. So much young talent on both teams. Kind of would be the Islanders in a little of an underdog spot. Maybe could see an upset, especially with that young defensive stud they got. I can't think of his name. I think it might be Matthew Schaefer, but I'm not 100% sure. He's really good, man. I watched him play a decent amount of hockey this year. He's really good, and I think he would make that series with Carolina competitive, even though I have Carolina going on and doing some good things in this tournament. My dark horse teams. In the West, I got the Minnesota Wild. After they've acquired Quinn Hughes, I think they've just had a really good offensive core. Their goaltending has been holding up, I think, fairly significantly. Like I said, I'm not the most avid hockey watcher, but from what stat sheets are showing me, I really like the Minnesota Wild to definitely win their first-round matchup against who is it again? The Dallas Stars. I like them to go up against Dallas and win, and I think they give Colorado some trouble. I really do. I don't think it's going to be anything crazy, but I think it goes at least 6 or 7 games. I think that's going to be a really tight competitive series. And then in the East, my dark horse is the Penguins. I know they're the 2 seed in the Mets, so maybe it's not fair to call them a dark horse. But I think a lot of people are just not really paying attention to what they got going on there. All 4 lines are strong. Stuart Skinner has been a phenomenal goaltender for them this year. Crosby is back and healthy. Malkin's not suspended anymore. And the biggest Achilles heel for the Penguins has been their overtime losses. They can't win 3-on-3, and they can't win shootouts. But when you get to the NHL playoffs, there are no shootouts, and overtime hockey is 5v5. So given that after 60 minutes has been what's caused the most problems for the Penguins, just I believe format-wise, I think once that changes going into the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Pens are going to be winning a lot more games that they didn't win in the regular season because of overtime. So I have them advancing against Columbus as of now, and I think they could straight up beat the Hurricanes. I really do, if it's not the Islanders they face. Who knows? It's a lot of hearsay. A lot of things are going to change over the next 3 weeks. Some of these teams that you see now won't even be in the playoffs by the time I'm sitting here in 3 weeks saying, all right, here are my brackets for the NBA and the NHL playoffs, because that will be a segment I ultimately do. But for now, those are my dark horses across both leagues and my favorite first-round matchups as of now and my teams who I got coming out of the East and the West. I mean, it's bracket season, baby. March Madness now, 3 weeks, NBA and NHL playoffs. So much fun, so much good stuff. And that is the end of our starting 9. Fun one today. A lot of lists, mostly lists and predictions and looking into the future, but I just think we have so much exciting stuff coming up. Why worry about what's already happened when we could get excited and talk about what's gonna be happening, you know? It's such a fun time of the year coming up for sports fans. I did that that was a little more over the top than I wanted it to. But now, if you're here, you either skipped to this part or you listened to me talk about sports for an hour as I requested at the top. It's the top 10. This is a fun top 10 for me. Not super sports related, not super sports unrelated, but just a fun overall topic. With baseball season getting in the swing, people are going to start going back to the ballpark. These are my top 10 ballpark concessions. Top 10 things that if I'm going to the park, I'm seeking out. And this is correct. A lot of these top 10s, they're up for interpretation. I think this one is just right. I fully believe that this is the perfect top 10. Best top 10 I've made so far, for sure. So at number 10 on the list, I got a burger. Now, you might think that's low. I know. But burger doesn't scream ballpark to me. Burgers are good, but, like, when you're eating a burger at a game, like, you're going to be up and cheering and stuff, and a burger's messy, like, especially if it's one of those big-ass burgers that you get at ballparks. I mean, I think just for convenience, burger isn't that great. Tastes great, but at the ballpark, I don't know. You're going to have one. Good pick, but I got it at 10. Number 9, I got peanuts. This kind of just hurt on my list because I'm not the biggest peanut fan, but I get their importance at the ballpark. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. You hear it at every baseball game, and I like listening to rules, so I will buy peanuts. They're fine, you know. I don't think they're the best food. Like, you're not going to eat peanuts if you want to, like, be full at a baseball game, but they're fun. They make a mess, though, man. They make a mess. I think that hurt them a little bit, too. I mean, peanuts are just messy, but they're at number 9. At number 8, I got chicken tenders and fries. Unreal combination. Get a little basket. It'll probably cost you $45 if we're being real with ballpark prices. But chicken tenders and fries. It's hard to go wrong with that. Some good chicken, some good fries, couple shareables there. Get some ketchup for it, why don't you? Maybe some buffalo sauce, which I tend to go for. But chicken tenders and fries at number 8. At number 7, I got Dippin' Dots. Gotta have dessert, and Dippin' Dots is the way to go. I mean, you don't have Dippin' Dots unless you're at a baseball game. And if you do, I need to know where you're getting them, because I only ever have Dippin' Dots at baseball games. And I feel like they're a staple. 8th inning, you've eaten and you drank and you've had either a great or a horrible time depending on how your team's doing. And regardless of how, you make the night a little better when you get yourself some Dippin' Dots in the 8th, you know? So that's why they're 7th on the list. Number 6 on the list, I got nachos. Best thing to share at a baseball game is some nachos. Get some jalapenos on it, a little bit of shredded beef, the cheese, the chips, nice thing of nachos. Easy to share with a friend. Once again, messy, maybe kind of tough to eat, but if you're getting nachos, I feel like you're committed to sitting down for a while. So you know what you're getting into when you get nachos, but they're great. I got them at number 6. Number 5, I got popcorn. Popcorn, easy, great, snackable, convenient. You can stand up and actually still cheer with popcorn. Easy thing to share, even though you might not want to. Popcorn's great. I mean, when you're watching something entertaining like a movie, you have popcorn. So when you're at a baseball game, it just makes sense. You're going to have popcorn. So that's why I got it at number 5 on my list. Number 4, I got the good old soft pretzel. Who doesn't love a good soft pretzel? Salted, has to be salted. I'm not the unsalted type. A good salted pretzel, some nacho cheese to dunk it in. You don't get enough. Soft pretzels aren't big enough, which I think doesn't really hurt them on my list. It just makes me upset that soft pretzels aren't massive. But I love soft pretzels. People will always try to steal, and you have such a kind heart if you let someone get a piece of your pretzel because you just don't get enough, and they are so expensive. But they are number 4 on my list because I love soft pretzels so much. Number 3, a little bit of a dark horse here. I got bratwurst. I love bratwurst so much. You find a good beer brat at a baseball game, it's wraps. Bratwursts are so fantastic. They're a little harder to come by, I think, than your traditional hot dog, and they're a little more filling, so you can't necessarily go $9.99 with them like our last 2 options on this list. A little foreshadowing, but I love bratwursts so much. If I'm getting something like a meal like that, I'm probably getting a bratwurst if I'm being real. So it's number 3 on the list. Number 2, I went back and forth with what was going to be 1 and what was going to be 2 for a really long time. And I'm still unsure of what should be where, but this is where I'm landing. Number 2, I got beer. I know, a lot of people probably think beer should be number 1. I mean, it's close. And because you got the beer snakes, which are just super creative. I love beer snakes. They're so much fun. You got to have a beer if you're going to a baseball game. It just makes the experience better. So much fun. Anything I just listed on that list there, except for maybe Dippin' Dots. I don't know if I'd do beer with Dippin' Dots. But all that you got a beer with you. You have a beer with you while you're having any of those previous concessions, not accessions. Concessions. You have a beer with you. It goes hand in hand at a baseball game. Well, actually, beer goes in hand at a baseball game, and it's worth it. It's so good. The 999 challenge is another fun thing to do with them. I got them at number 2 on the list. And at number 1, if it wasn't already obvious enough, it's a hot dog. The hot dog is just, I feel like you think baseball, you think hot dog, right? Baseball and hot dogs. I mean, you have hot dog, people will throw hot dogs into the stands. You have dollar dog nights. I mean, hot dogs are just so out there at baseball games and such a cornerstone of a baseball game that it feels hard. I was hard fought to put it anywhere beneath number 1. I feel like hot dog is just the quintessential baseball food. And it pairs great with all those beers I was talking about. I mean, the 999 challenge, kind of foreshadowing, I'll say it. It kind of foreshadows my episode next week, the 999 challenge. So maybe get excited for that. But I love the 999 challenge. I've completed it before, proudly. It's fun. It's hard. It hurts your stomach. But you get to just shove your face full of the 2 best things baseball games have to offer at the concession stands, which is hot dogs and beer. So that's my top 10. I'll read it back for you real quick. Number 10 is burgers. Number 9 is peanuts. Number 8 is chicken tenders and fries. Number 7 is Dippin' Dots. Number 6 is nachos. Number 5 is popcorn. Number 4 is soft pretzels. Number 3 are brats. Number 2, beer. And number 1, ballpark concession, is a good old-fashioned hot dog. So that's it. That's all I got. That was the 6th episode of Givin Takes. Filled out a tier list in a Sweet 16 bracket. We talked about the tournament. We foreshadowed what's going to be happening next week on the episode. We talked so much about baseball. I got goosebumps. I love the sport of baseball. I love this show. I can't wait to talk about baseball all for the next 7 months. It's going to be fantastic. I've been waiting. I've just been sitting behind the start line getting ready to run. And that gun's about to be fired, and I'm about to take off sprinting, baby, because opening day is Thursday. I'm so excited for it. It's going to be great. And that's everything for the episode, man. If you like me, make sure to like the video, subscribe. We're pushing closer and closer to 100, 30 subscribers away from 100. Follow me on TikTok and Instagram at Givin Takes, and make sure you show love to the Empty the Bench Network, because if you're not, what are you doing? Show some love. Come on, show some love to the Empty the Bench Network. I had to get up close and personal to tell you that because I mean it. Show love to the ETB Network. On Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, they're at ETB Network, and then youtube.com/ETB Network to follow those amazing people over there. So that's all I got to say today, man. It was a fun episode. I had a good time. It was great. Look forward to episode 7 next week. Episode 7 is going to be something different, totally different. It's going to still be fun. It's still going to basically be the same, but it's going to be new and exciting, and I think you're all going to love it. So thank you, everybody, so much for watching. I hope you had a great time. I've been Nate Miller, and those were my takes.